So picture this. Bill Gates, one of the wealthiest individuals on the planet, a guy who could easily strap a Patek Philippe or a solid gold Rolex to his wrist every single day without even blinking, chooses to wear a $50 Casio. What does that actually tell us about validation? What does it say about this desperate need we sometimes have for a logo just to prove our worth? I think it completely shatters the myth that a massive, eye-watering price tag is the only path to high-quality horology.
Welcome to today's explainer. We are jumping headfirst into the illusion of luxury, engineering over prestige. I am honestly so excited to guide you through this because today we're basically acting as horological detectives. We're taking off our brand tinted glasses, we're ignoring all those multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns, and we are analyzing pure watch engineering. I'm going to prove to you, using the hard specs laid out in our source material, that you can get absolute high-end watch specifications for under $200. Seriously. I want you to ask yourself right now, do you truly value horological engineering, or are you just paying a massive brand tax? You know, watch brands really want you to believe that you have to drop $5,000 just to be part of the club. But if you strip away the heritage and the fancy logo, what are you actually holding in your hand? Is it the metalwork you're paying for, or just the name printed on the dial?
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Mastering the metalwork. 2. Complex calibers and complications. 3. Purpose-built tool specs. And 4. Engineering over prestige.
All right, let's start with section 1, mastering the metalwork, finishing, and tolerances. Let's kick things off with applied indices. What are they? Well, they're essentially three-dimensional metal markers that are physically attached to the dial's surface, rather than just being printed on flat. And why does this matter? Because each little piece creates layered depth. When light hits an applied index, it reflects, it sparkles, and it gives the whole watch face incredible dimension. Now that's traditionally a hallmark of luxury watch construction, usually carrying a steep price tag. But as you'll see, you really don't need to pay luxury prices to get this level of physical, three-dimensional metalwork. Just look at this completely staggering discrepancy in price for the exact same design philosophy. We have the Tag Heuer Aqua Racer sitting at $2,500, going head-to-head with the Orient Kamasu at just $180. The Orient features those applied indices we just talked about, and each one has its own lume plot. Plus, it rocks a sunburst finish dial, meaning the metal is brushed in a radial pattern from the center out, so it catches the light dynamically. But what's even more impressive is the case finishing. The top surfaces are brushed with a linear grain, while the chamfered edges, those beveled transitions between the surfaces, are polished to a perfect mirror finish. This kind of mixed finishing is exactly how Rolex and Omega create visual interest. Yet Orient is pulling this off for roughly 7% of the price of the Tag Heuer. 7%. Moving on, let's talk about the integrated bracelet. This is a design where the bracelet flows seamlessly right into the case, manufactured to look like one continuous piece rather than separate, clunky components. And let me tell you, this is genuinely difficult to execute well. If the manufacturing tolerances aren't absolutely perfect, if that integration point is visibly gappy or poorly finished, the entire design just completely falls apart. That is exactly why integrated bracelet watches usually start at around $3,000 minimum. But here's where it gets wild. Citizen literally pulls off a manufacturing miracle with the Suyasa. This watch mimics the exact design language of a $20,000 Audemars Piguet Royal Oak or a $400 Tissot PRX, but you can regularly catch it on sale for under $200. It just nails the integrated bracelet concept. The bracelet tapers beautifully from 20 millimeters at the case down to 16 millimeters at the clasp, which gives it this amazing visual elegance and comfort. It also rocks premium mixed finishing, contrasting brushed outer links with polished center links. It's an absolute triumph of manufacturing tolerances at a budget-friendly price. Now, this crucial point is really driven home when we analyze homage watches purely as spec beasts. I know homages can make some watch enthusiasts a little uncomfortable, but let's look at this totally neutrally. The San Martin, which homages the Rolex Submariner, cost around $250, but uses a PT5000 movement. That is a clone of the Swiss Sellita SW200 with the exact same architecture and serviceability. Its case finishing easily rivals $1,000 watches. Then you've got Pagani Design doing an AP homage for around $140, boasting Seiko's absolute bulletproof NH35 movement, an anti-reflective sapphire crystal, and an integrated bracelet with solid end links and a hidden butterfly clasp. The actual build quality here is undeniably high-end.
Moving right along to Section 2, Complex Calibers and Complications, the Mechanical Heart.
So, what is a mechanical complication? It's really any feature beyond the simple display of hours, minutes, and seconds. And the Orient Open Heart gives you a literal window right into that world for around $200. This isn't just a random cutout showing some static gears. This reveals the oscillating balance wheel. The balance wheel is the regulating organ of the watch. It's literally the heartbeat. Showing this off is a genuine mechanical complication, something you typically find in a free-to-eat constant costing maybe $1,500 to $2,000.
But if you want to talk about seriously impressive mechanical feats, we have to talk about the column wheel. This is a premium, historically very expensive chronograph mechanism that uses a vertical tooth column for a buttery smooth operation. Most affordable chronographs out there use a much cheaper cam system. The column wheel is way harder to manufacture, it's incredibly smooth to click, and it's historically reserved for watches costing thousands of dollars. It controls the start, stop, and reset functions with absolute precision. Which brings us to a frankly mind-blowing comparison. Think about the Rolex Daytona, famous for its column wheel chronograph complication, which will set you back roughly $15,000. Now contrast that with the Swiss Heritage chronograph. Both of these watches contain a true mechanical column wheel. So what do you think the Swiss costs? $189. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. For $189, you are getting Swiss luxury watch engineering. The pricing game in the watch world feels completely broken when a complication this complex can be offered at this exact price point. And here is the magic behind how they actually do it. Inside the Swiss beats the ST1901 manual wind movement. This is a clone of the Venus 175. Meaning it mirrors the exact same architecture of vintage Omega Speedmasters and classic Swiss chronographs from the 1960s. Add in a dome tessellite crystal, a highly legible panda dial, and that buttery smooth vertical column wheel action, and you have what is arguably the most impressive technical watch under $200, period.
Okay, Section 3, Purpose-Built Tools Specs, Uncompromising Durability. Did you know that to be legally classified as a professional dive watch, a timepiece has to meet incredibly strict ISO 6425 requirements? It's true. It must have at least 200 meters of water resistance, a screw-down crown to prevent any water ingress, and a unidirectional bezel so a diver can only ever accidentally overestimate their time underwater, never underestimate it. These aren't just suggestions, these are serious, life-saving technical requirements. Well, guess what? That $50 Casio Duro hits every single one of those strict ISO 6425 requirements. $50. It boasts a tough 316L stainless steel case and a highly shatter-resistant mineral crystal. Now, an Omega Seamaster Professional delivers very similar tool watch functionality for about $4,000. The Casio does it for roughly 1% of the price. And this brings us right back to our hook at the very beginning. This is exactly why Bill Gates chooses to wear this watch. It's the ultimate validation of function over brand. If field watches are more your style, take a look at this comparison. We have the $4,500 IWC Mark 18 compared to the $100 Citizen EcoDrive Chandler. Both share a very specific military-inspired design philosophy, matte black dials with high-contrast white indices for instant at-a-guidance legibility. But the Citizen actually brings a hidden luxury feature to the table, EcoDrive solar power technology. Invented way back in 1976, it charges from literally any light source, meaning you never have to change a battery. You get the exact same military spec legibility and 100 meters of water resistance, plus solar convenience, all for $100. And now for something totally out of left field, the Vostok Amphibia. This is pure Soviet-era engineering representing a completely different philosophical approach to durability. Instead of standard O-rings, it uses a massive flat rubber gasket and a super unique caseback design. As you go deeper underwater, the actual water pressure compresses the metal caseback tighter against the gasket, creating a bizarre but highly effective metal-on-metal compression seal. Even the bezel is wild. It's a friction bezel with no clicks, just firm, deliberate resistance so it can't be bumped out of place. It's a true technical oddball, and it's yours for about $100. Finally, we arrive at Section 4, Engineering over Prestige, the final verdict. When you lay it all out, the value proposition is just completely undeniable. For $50, the Casio Duro gives you a legally certified ISO-compliant dive tool. For $189, the Soucis gives you a mechanical column wheel chronograph, which is a complication usually reserved for absolute luxury icons. And for $250, the San Martin gives you mirror-polished chamfers, solid end links, and a reliable automatic movement that rivals $1,000 timepieces. The level of engineering you get at these price points is absolutely staggering. It really all boils down to this incredibly empowering takeaway from our source material. You don't need a fortune to have great taste. You just need to know where to look. If you understand what applied indices actually are, if you know how incredibly hard it is to perfectly machine an integrated bracelet, and if you can appreciate the buttery click of a column wheel, you can build an incredibly respectable, horologically significant collection without needing to take out a second mortgage.
So I'm going to leave you with one final provocative thought. If absolutely nobody else could see the logo on your wrist, which of these engineering marvels would you actually choose to wear? Would you still crave the prestige of the crown, or would you be completely thrilled by the mechanics of a sub-$200 masterpiece? Thank you so much for joining me today on this explainer. Keep focusing on the engineering and keep learning.